Thank you, Kelly. Beautiful. One of my favorite songs out of that old Wings of Prayer hymnal books. I see behind me is the "Peace be still," the words of the Way, Shore, Jesus. And that is a special, not only is that saying just special to anyone who is involved in Unity, but has anybody ever been to Unity Village? Yeah? There's a room where there's a big sign and a place where the Fillmore's set up to go in there for meditation. There's a great big huge Bible there that's open and you can sit with it and be in that room. It's just a special thing to be there. You realize the faith that the Fillmores had at Unity Village. They were a very faithful people. What they built was beyond their comprehension of how they would get there. But they knew that it was something that they needed to build. It was within them. I call that the gut. I feel like the gut is the place where our soul speaks. We know what we know, what we know in the gut. You know what you're here to be. You know who you're here to be in your gut. My name is James Moreno, and I am currently on my way to integral ministry through Unity Worldwide Institute. So I am not currently a reverend, but I've been doing Sunday talks for over 25 years, and I came to Unity through the back door, so to speak. I met this couple named Albert and Marlene Abdolke, and Albert was a Unity minister, but he felt that Unity was too constricted for him because there were so many more teachings that you could bring into this whole spiritual walk. But he taught me about these people called the Fillmores, and Emily Cady, and Emily Curtis Hopkins, and James Dillett Freeman, and all these great Unity minds. He taught me about them. And he was interested in me, and him and his wife kind of took me under their wing. She used to call me my boy when I would walk in. Hi, my boy, hi. And I was already walking the path of the Red Road. I do native type ceremonies. And so this was a place where I felt very welcome because my spiritual path was a little bit different than other people in the room. That's what I love about Unity. It's open to all people and whatever path they have, even if they're atheist and they have no belief in God. So to me, the Spiritual Truth Center that they built was just a wonderful place. And I'll tell you why I thought that. When I was 8 years old, my father passed away, and a priest came from Ireland. He was fresh off the plane, and he spoke to our family in Stockton, California. It was 115 degrees that day. It was particularly hot that year. And he said he got off the plane and he felt like he entered the gates of Hades. Right? And he spoke to us with such knowledge of who we were and what we were going through. I just couldn't believe how connected he was to us. Like, how could this man be so connected? And so during that time, I thought that I decided I want to be like him. I want to be a priest too. My sister decided she wanted to be a nurse because she spent a lot of time in the hospital with my dad. So that was two of the blessings that came from the loss of my father. And so my sister did end up going to Stanislaus State and got her BSN and then later became a nurse practitioner. And what I did was I became an altar boy and I started worshiping, being a part of the service. One evening I was called by this priest and he said, I'd like you to serve tomorrow. I said, okay, Father, I'll be there. So I show up, it's Easter Sunday, and there's all these boys I've never seen there before. But I recognize them from the neighborhood. It was the lawyer's son and the doctor's son and all these people from affluent families in the neighborhood. And they had these robes that were like really decorated. Super different than my robe. I had in my locker, I just had a plain white robe. So I started putting on my robe and this priest comes running out and he says, what are you doing here? And the way he said it was just, it didn't sit right with me. It wasn't good. And I said, well, Father called me and asked me to serve today. He goes, we don't need you. And that really didn't sit well with me. So I put my robe back up on the hook, closed the closet door, and I never returned. I had to go find my family I don't know how many hundreds of people were there that day, but I had to find them. And I sat next to my mom, and she said, what happened? I said, they didn't need me. The blessing of that was that it gave me a curiosity that it opened up my heart to where was I needed? What was I needed for? I went to ashrams, churches, synagogues. I talked to the Jehovah's Witnesses at the door, the Mormons at the door. I talked to Krishnas in the airport. I know that's dating me. Krishnas in the airport, that doesn't happen anymore. But it used to be a really interesting experience because they were dancing and, running through the airport and talking to anybody that would talk to them. And so I talked to them a lot. And I, studied Sufism and Hinduism and, just anything I could get my hands. I wanted to know what people, how they celebrated God and what it brought to them and how they did it. I just wanted to know. So when I met my friends, the Abdalkis, Albert was immersed in all of these things. And so he was just, somebody great to talk to. Father figure for me. So we shared a lot, and I shared about my path and how I came to my path. A friend of mine, after all this searching, one day said to me, I've been going to this medicine man, and my life has changed. I just feel so great. And I'm like, can I do that? So we set it up. I went to a house out near Clayton, California. It was in the middle of suburbia. It was not what I expected. There were no teepees. There were no campfires. But I was told when you go to this place, just walk in the door, and if somebody's there to greet you, fine. If somebody's not there to greet you, just sit down and wait your turn. And so I walked in the door, nobody there. I could hear chanting, some kind of ceremony going on in another room. So I just sat down and just thought, wow, this isn't what I expected. The ceremony ended. A woman came walking out, and a man behind her. She said goodbye to him, thanked him profusely, and walked out the door. Then he walked up to me and goes, okay, are you ready? I said, yeah, I'm ready. I'm here. Brought my tobacco and my money for offering. Here you go. Let's go. What happened to me before that ceremony was that I walked with him through that hallway and through the threshold of the door where he held his ceremonies. And as I walked through that threshold, I was home. I felt it. Nothing had happened yet, but I knew I was home. And I sat down, and that became my path. Meeting Albert and Marlene really was a great thing, because once they retired, I had to have a time where I was, again, looking for a spiritual home. And some friends of mine said, hey, you got to come to this place, Unity of Stockton. I said, oh yeah, I actually went there one time, and I don't know, I didn't connect. They weren't talking about new thought. And they said, well, they're in a new place, and you really need to check it out. I said, okay. So I go over there, and to my surprise, it was in a new place. They had sold the old church, and now they're in like this office building. Well, that office building was my office. I had worked in that office building for about a year and a half, and we had moved, and Unity of Stockton moved in behind us into that office. I had sat in that room asking for a new spiritual home. I had sat in that room praying for what would that next thing be. And to my surprise, it came to me. I could not believe it. I even sat I used to sit near the thermostat, and I'm sitting there in Unity of Stockton next to the thermostat where my desk used to be. It was a very interesting turn of events. And I wasn't going to talk about any of that, but this sign made me think on those terms. So I'm going to get back to what I was going to talk about. And I want to say to you first, what I just said to you in the Yaqui Yoam language is, God is the maker of heaven. And in the Ojibwe language, I said, thank you. The person that I went and visited that day, the shaman that I met with, the medicine man, he became my agui. The agui is a teacher. And the word agui is the thought of why I created this talk. The meaning of agui actually is the person who puts cloth on you. And so that's what his teacher, he called agui, I called him agui. And so it made me think about this particular Sunday talk, and the title of this talk is The Cloth, Knowing the Fabric Within. Exploring how and understanding your unique spiritual makeup can guide you to deeper self-awareness and fulfillment, to unravel the threads that define your spiritual identity and weave them into a richer, more purposeful life. Eric Butterworth, who's one of my favorite Unity ministers, he said, at the heart of your being and mine, at God level, there is that which innately knows I am able, not I will be able, I hope I can be able. Maybe someday, if I find the right teacher or the right course, I will be able, but I am able. That which is creative, all-loving, all-conquering, equal to every challenge of change is the reality of me and you. And so the study of human potential is misleading if it assumes that you can in any way change or alter what you are. The need is to change or alter what you think you are. And human potential is not to be indicated in terms of IQ or any other device to rate you with others. We may have made life a competitive struggle, but actually competition is between ourselves and our potentiality. And developing potential is not a matter of achieving superiority to other persons, but of superiority to our previous self. I read one time that there's a race car school in Japan, and the instructor gets into the race car with the driver. And what happens when the driver starts to lose control of the car, the instructor actually grabs the head of the driver and points their face in the direction that they want the car to go, right? Bringing their vision to that place, not grabbing the wheel, not doing anything like that, but giving them focus. And that's how I feel that mentors have been to me. My spiritual mentors have been not grabbing the wheel, but placing my mind or my vision in the right place for my mind to catch up with what I'm looking at. They remind us and show us where to look, not what to look at. Eric Butterworth also said, don't go through life, grow through life. You know, I had a talk that was similar to this. It was a little bit different. You know, each time I speak, I expect that there's going to be healing. I really think that's the strength of what the Fillmores were about, is the healing of us. Connecting to our soul and our purpose and moving forward. You know, there's so much in us that we know we are here to do, or we're here to be a part of. But there's such a, you know, all you need to do to get a little bit of doubt is decide that you're going to do something. Right? Because the first thing that comes to visit you is doubt. You know, I could be in the shower with my greatest plan that I've ever discovered in my head and thinking about it all day long and what I'm going to do. And the next day I could be in that shower and it's not such a good idea. Right? It's just the way it is. But having focus allows us to feel that and move forward anyway. Well, when I had this talk, one of the congregants came up to me a week later, and I had said, you know, I believe that there's going to be healing in this room today. And sometimes I get feedback and sometimes I don't. But on that, the next week, I got this feedback from this lady. And she said, you know, remember you asked us to bring something that we wanted to be different in our lives, something that we needed a healing for? I said, yeah. She said, I thought of my family. You know, they moved away from me. And I have been so angry that they left. So angry. People would try and show me pictures of them in their new home, in their new state, and I just, I don't want to even see it. I don't want to know. I don't want to see it. They've angered me. They've hurt me so bad that they've moved away from me. And she said, you know, after you had that talk, I started thinking about them. Because, you know, you said that there could be a healing. Even if I couldn't see there could be a healing, there is a healing somewhere. And she said, I sat there and I thought, oh, look at those pictures. So she started looking at the pictures on Facebook that she didn't want to see. And what she saw was their smiles, their new friends, their new home, their new life. And it dawned on her. This is exactly what me and my husband were able to achieve. They got what we got, but they had to move away to have it, to be able to afford it, to be able to have a yard, to be able to have their own house. They didn't leave me. They found the life they were supposed to have. She said, so guess what? What? I'm going there. I'm going to visit. They're thrilled that I'm going to come to see them. It was just that moment of looking at it deeper, finding the thread to healing and repairing that. You know, and Eric Butterworth said that, we can only become what we already are. We can learn only what we already know. It's a matter of realizing potentialities. Not adding to, but drawing forth. Not passing on, not building into, but releasing or evolving that which is involved, or as Browning says, opening a way whence the imprisoned splendor makes escape. Paul Hasselbeck taught me a great way to understand God. I'm going to share it with you quickly. He said, God is table. God is table. So we can have a wooden table, a metal table, a plastic table. We can have a table that's a square. We can have a rectangle table. We can have a circle table. We can have it made out of glass. We can have it a large table. We can have a small table. But God is table. Now think about that on other terms. Let's say God is building. God is building. God is an old building. God is a new building. God is a brick building. God is a wooden building. But God is building. Let's think about that. God is planet. God is this planet. God is other planets. God is universe. God is our universe. God is multi-universe. Let's take it back to us. God is human. God is black humans. God is brown humans. God is white humans. God is female humans. God is male humans. God is humans that came here male or female and became who they are, truly are inside. So, we have one of our principles, our first principle is God is everywhere, right? So, if we see God from that place where God is table, we can understand that God is everything. Eric Butterworth, I'm heavy on Eric Butterworth today. I love the way he talked. He said, a human looking for God is like a fish looking for water. right? And that's so true. If we have the understanding that God is everything that can be, and so God is everywhere around us. Close your eyes for 1 minute, okay? I'm going to take you on a little journey about where God is. Something that I did this morning, maybe some of you did. You can replace what I'm going to talk about, a cup of coffee. Let's start with the miracle of turning the knob and receiving the life-giving water that will serve as the means to convey the coffee beans that human hands have nurtured to end up in your kitchen sanctuary. You can recognize the unseen power of electricity that you are using, the crafters who created the dwelling in which you stand, the maker of the brewing device, the cup, the chair you will sit in, the rug beneath your feet, the forces, substances, or devices currently creating the climate of your dwelling. And then finally, a thank you with a sip that blesses your body, with recognition of the warming of your mouth and the stimulation to the cells of your being. Okay, open your eyes again. That is a sacred moment of coffee. Our unity basic principle, number 5, through thoughts, words, and actions, we live the truth we know. Jesus said to the apostles, "For truly I say to you, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. And nothing will be impossible to you." It's Mark 17:20. If all things are to become possible, there must be expansion of growth in faith. Jim Lewis wrote, "When faith opens the mind, mountains of problems are met and removed. Things or problems that we thought impossible now become possible to solve. The mustard seed parable is telling us that great things can be accomplished with just a little spiritual insight. And that insight comes simply through a willingness to listen and let our mind open through faith." That's Jim Lewis. So you see, the fabric within is the truth of who we are. It's unchangeable. We know who we are, and what we're here to do. We know what we're here to be, or to simply live consciously. The fabric within is the power within. It's the ability to change our consciousness. The fabric of God is everywhere present. It is up to us to experience the fabric of us in a sacred way. And so it is. Thank you, God.